But yeah, I do think it's funny that we still just have the main infrastructure for the old mall. It's just kind of sitting there, not
Yep.
doing
I mean, it
anything.
was still doing stuff. Some things were working.
Yeah.
There's half
Yeah.
of them are turned off at this point. It's like, yeah, we just turned off the resource, and instead of cleaning it up, it's just not
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
I chopped a lot of it out of there, mostly because of the issues with power overload.
That's fair. Yeah.
Trying to cut down on redundant, you know, machinery.
Hmm. I do like how fluids, the main fluids, was turning out though. I thought that was really cool. Fluids is still one thing I just don't fully understand. I haven't played a whole lot of single player to really have a chance to work on it. And I'm usually playing with Daniel, and he does such a good job at it. I'm like, nah, just let Daniel do it. I'll just mess it up.
I was pretty happy with this plastic down here. Speaking
Yeah.
of fluid and production. So, that's-
Bakelite was an interesting mid and late game obstacle.
Yeah.
I thought it would be mostly early game, but even mid and late game, it was still rearing its head.
Well, because it's used for green chips.
Yep.
yep.
And like once you get late game, Factorio is all about blue
Green
chips,
chips.
which takes so much green chips. It's just green chips on green chips on green chips. And also you want a lot of modules, which take a lot of blue chips
Right.
for tier 3s.
Mhm.
So like the demand is very high, and so for then all of a sudden the bakelite, which you ignored for most of the early game through mid game,
Yeah.
because your starting was just enough, and then it suddenly dials down because it's the chemical resource that slowly loses its potency, and all of a sudden you need that bakelite.
Now it actually needs some attention, and it's like, oh god, how do what? No. Yeah. No, I'm very glad that we did this. This was a very fun challenge, but it was a significant challenge and a notable time sink.
Oh
Oh,
yes.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Good job, everybody.
I did like dumping power overload. I think if we do this again, maybe we put our heads together after, you know, a bit of time and review our mods.
Yeah. That seems like a
Make
fun
a
thing to do.
change like that a little earlier. Um,
Yep.
although power overload wasn't a real pain until we got big.
Yeah.
It was not a pain, but it was definitely
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Had no idea what a time suck it was until we got rid of it and everything tripled in, you know, progress and pace.
yeah, the whole infrastructure. Yeah, well, I noticed after the third or fourth time I logged into the server and just spent most of it fixing power issues and trying to figure
Right.
out how to hook new things in, and but it wasn't. I more like I don't want to throw in the towel. I think we can do this. I think we're
Right.
figuring this out. But then as things kept breaking, and just the fix themselves would then cause more issues, and then it would cascade, and just
Yep.
the whole east side of the map or west side of the map would go down, which then
Right,
rolled all
and-
the way to the east.
And one of the things that it was inhibiting was what I made as soon as we were done, if you want to look at where I'm currently standing. Like, as soon as power overload turned off, I built this.
The
I
little
had a
MUX
blueprint
reactor.
of it. Wait. Yeah, it's a MOX reactor. So we started making the plutonium.
Mhm.
And I had just put a dinky thing together, like, just at the end to start using it. But as soon as power overload was gone, it was like, boom, hey, look, one of the features of the mod that I wanted to try out. But
Yeah.
before, I just was like, it's too much of a headache to try and make this and to have it not blow things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the problem is it generates 240 megawatts, and that's too much for substations.
Yep.
Right.
So you inherently need two networks when using power overload and using that quad setup.
I was starting to get to the point with power overload that I'm like, we just need a bunch of tiny little 2 reactor locations, and we'll just have the
Right.
bots deal with it. But like, that's it's a lot of work.
Yep. And like the other option would be to have way over engineered our starting base so that we were always utilizing some sort of main line
Mm-hmm.
of
Right.
large poles and
Huge poles?
then using if huge poles, yeah, and then using transformers off of them. Like if we had been really rigorously like adhering to that kind of protocol from the get-go, then it wouldn't have been so much of a problem. But like that's too much to do early game. That's too much
Yeah.
to think about
Well,
early game.
Well, even when I did do that kind of stuff later, I would have bots end up connecting, like,
Yeah.
offshoots together that weren't supposed to be connected.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
and
whether it was a fix or a repair, you know, if something did pop when it was put back, sometimes it was put back wrong, and it would auto-connect everything in region.
Right.
And I've on several occasions it created feedback loops on mine, which spiked us over 5 gigawatts of power, which would blow even the huge reactors apart, huge poles apart.
Yeah. So it's an interesting concept, but I don't think that mod is done yet.
Right.
The other
That's a good way
piece
to
I
put it.
thought was missing is you can't, there's no reporting or management, right? Even if you go to map view, you can't tell one circuit network from another.
Yeah, you just gotta hope that it's disconnected in some position.
Exactly.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
I
you know-
put on the electric networks overlay on the map.
Oh, I had to too, and that at least gave you a
It was
little bit of
more-
insight. But
Right.
if they were a different shade, you can more visually see like, oh, this is one network, this is another.
Oh, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and especially if you're trying to use like that MOX reactor where you would have segregated backbone runs running in parallel until they diverge, but without being connected to each other.
Huh. That's what happens
Something
when you
like
shoot
that
the ocean.
really is mandatory to try and manage it.
Yeah. Oh, main receiving.
Yeah.
A very fun. At the end of it, I thought it was a really good design.
Yeah, no, I really liked how this is advanced.
That one actually got like iterated on. It's
Yes.
one of the few things on the map. that
Well,
I
it was really important to do it right.
Yep.
Yes, it was. I liked it. I was a little confused by it at times, but the one thing I never fully understood with main receiving is how to throttle something when you've got too much of it.
That's fair. And I don't think there
Yeah.
really is an effective way to do that.
Well, you got to throttle it source, I think. If you use a solution, you have to shut the mines down or shut the shipping down to stop
Yeah.
bringing in stuff.
Right. That would be the you connect to the port and you have your, or not. You connect to it would be connected to the port with a circuit network or something,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
have it set train limit.
Yep. Or send a train and some logic in there somehow.
Yeah,
But I
if you-
never really had a good answer.
I think ultimately the answer would have been a dedicated port for each resource. That way you could set the limit on the port.
Or at least it
Oh.
would
Say,
back
nope,
up
I'm
on
no longer
specific ones.
receiving copper plates.
Yes,
Right.
that's how I do them on solo games. But this was a whole new approach for me, and it's got a lot of benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is
what
nice
down-
with it when it's just like shove everything on the boat, send it to main receiving, it'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Only downside is that if we are expecting any containers outside of the specific ones that we already have set up, it just goes straight into the buffer, which is nice that it has a spot to go to, which also handles any overflow. So it works well in that regard, but it also means that infrastructure needs set up on this end. So even though it is kind of like a general receiving, it's really hard to, if you need more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 12,
There's
13
like,
trains-ish
Yeah.
in here, then you can't really expand it. But for what it does and how well it works, I don't mind. I think that's a minor restriction.
I don't. There's at least one of these that isn't used anymore. It could be repurposed.
Where the hell did that come from? Hey, you get back here. I just
What?
saw the barrels appear on the belt.
Oh, did it decide that it needed to empty the buffer?
No, it didn't come from the buffer. I don't know where it came from. They just
It
I
doesn't matter, like,
was looking somewhere else.
That's,
They're
yeah,
getting
I don't
sorted.
know.
They're going where they need to be.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's being fixed, but like, why is it even happening to begin with? Also, quick question: what is with this like weird provider chest thing right here with rocket fuel? Is this for refueling cargo planes?
Yes.
Okay.
No, no, yeah, or not cargo planes, but oh, this one is, but it's also for, I think, for. Oh wait, no. Yeah, I suppose it is just for planes.
Yeah, it's probably for cargo planes.
yeah, that'd be my.
I don't know why there's two of them.
Right, where's this one going? This one seems
Oh.
like. No, that's receiving it from main receiving. I see.
There's some containers of rocket fuel that made it through here.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure where those came from. I'm sure. I think there was a short bit where I had containerized the rocket fuel, and just the stops got mixed up somehow.
Yeah, what
Oh,
kind of?
no, there is... Look, this one actually brings in containers of rocket fuel.
Oh, it probably.
So does this one.
Mine's
Yeah,
got some-
we ran into some weird problems with names.
Oh yes, we did.
Where I would like try to rename something and it like just didn't work right.
Mm. Mm.
I don't know if it was an interaction with the groups or something, but
Anyways. I think this is a good enough tour. We're kind of dying down. I want to thank everybody here.
Oh yeah, well we got to look at the Robo Mall.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. We
I
could
mean,
do a deep dive into
And
that
like
one.
you can stop by the fully moduled science,
Yeah.
just because it's fun sushi.
Yeah, we DiscoScienced in the early part, but yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's pretty.
And then,
I liked how it turned out.
and then the huge ass Robo Mall.
Yeah, little garbage smelters to help clear out the buffer, and then
That was clever. Yeah, I like that.
thank you. I actually liked how these little module areas turned out using the power switches. I think this is the first time I've ever actually used power switches in a design. It only turned on if we actually had the stuff needed to make the different modules. That way the other parts of the base can have use of the red and blue chips first,
Yeah.
instead of just being consumed by the modules in the process.
Cool.
Yeah. That, and then combine that with I like the offloading just straight into the provider chests, and then the bots kind of come in and just pick it up.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
was a weird jumbled mess trying to get the empty containers out of here, though. That was not fun, and I don't really like how they turned out in the end, but they work, so that's oh. What is your issue? You just not... Do you have energy? Yeah, you've got power.
Which?
This long-handled belt, or long-handle inserter just can't grab. There.
Got junk in its claw.
Something like that.
I've run into that where you change the recipe on a
Oh,
assembly.
no, this one was the long-handled inserter had just a fraction of a second to grab the thing, and it wasn't enough. It was moving too fast, and it kept getting away from it.
Blue belt.
So I swapped it over to a fast inserter, and it was able to grab it.
Here you go.
Yep. Very minor issue, but yeah,
Oh, did you see,
a complicated main train
did you see
receiving for
the
the mall.
plastic setup I built in for the chips? Yeah, I was kind of
Lower
proud
left
of
over
that.
here. Yep.
That's this one. It
Or
was crude
oh, this one.
and natural gas and brings
Yeah,
in
no, I
all
hadn't
the
looked at this
raw
one.
and produces a full blue belt white plastic. I was pretty proud of that. This is the rocket nozzles.
Wow, that's cool. I wonder.
Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a good idea. No,
Yep.
Steven,
Yep.
yeah,
That
that was
hasn't
a
been
great
looked at
idea.
since,
I'm wondering though if we
yep,
could swap
tier one.
the Mark 1 beacons for a
Modules.
single 2 right here in the middle.
Take out the other beak. Yeah. It doesn't reach the refineries.
Yeah, it does. We
Just
could
out of
use it
curiosity, yes. If for those looking at it,
Oh,
just
it
an
does.
FYI
Yep,
as
I was
far
looking at the
as
wrong thing. Yep.
it does.
Sweet. So 7.
So you can only have one
Speed,
beacon per
because it halves
building,
it's
but
speed
the tier 2
5%,
beacons can hold
energy
15
consumption plus
modules.
525%.
Pretty effective. I don't know what the how does the
output
calculator look
is 85.8
with that change?
plastic bars per second. So
That's about 2 belts.
yeah, that's
Two full blue
I'm
belts.
thinking
faster than
the
it was going.
the flow, the rate.
I was just over the capacity of the blue belt.
Yeah. So here it's
Nice.
Now,
do you remember how much it was?
2
I
full
forgot
blue
to check it.
almost
Right.
2 almost full blue belts.
It,
Yeah.
consumes 1,068 gallons of crude oil per second.
Right. And they're
Okay.
all on productivity modules as well.
Two.
So it's very efficient.
Yeah,
It's pretty
that's a lot of plastic.
Nice.
Right, and now that we don't have power overload, I have
Crazy.
tons of nuclear
Yeah.
reactors.
You can
And the solar
Yeah,
farm.
you're
You
looking
can
at
you want to take a look at the solar farm?
1.77 megawatts
That's
per
you can just look at that over
chemical
on the
plant.
map. That was just fun.
and 3.5 megawatts per
amazing.
assembling machine.
Oh, did we build one of
Yeah.
them? We did. Excellent.
Oh yeah.
We got a chance to play with that.
Yeah.
Which solar farm? There's a. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
up
one
here.
I had made as a blueprint.
Yeah, that one
and
was
I was
cool.
just waiting for the right moment, and then suddenly we had enough excess cobalt.
Yeah,
I like set it. Basically, I did it in.
I'm
the
glad the
robo
sun's
mall.
up
I
for
made
just
an
this last
order
little bit as
for
it's slowly
550
ticking down. But
mirrors.
yeah, no.
And I'm
I
just
remember
like,
you turning
when
that on
this
like a
is
week ago or
filled,
so.
I'll go make it, and we'll see how it takes.
Nice.
Siphoning a little bit of cobalt off, and then once it was done, I'm
We
like,
can do
That's cool.
it.
so here we are. This is the line of smelting stacks
Yes.
coming off of the containerizers, and it's just full stack down, and just using different containers, and then having each one lined up.
And then
Basically, just cookie cutter.
unload
Sending it
the
down.
ore,
Got-
load the
Unload the ore,
plates.
load the plates. Unload the ore, load the
Yeah.
plates. And then the only other thing that we had to do was I did titanium sticks, so I did a different form of titanium. So make some wolframite and then make it into sticks.
So kind of like steel, kind of like a steel
Right,
processing.
kind of like
Yeah.
a seal, and then because we'll get to that. And then this one, we have the copper getting siphoned off the lead,
Into the
brought all
copper
the way
line.
into its own copper. So this one doesn't have a ore containerizer because it's using all of the lead.
Oh, okay.
And that is next to, which, borders the rest of the copper. And then we have...
See, I'm
Yeah.
okay. I've paused a little bit on the tour, and I'm looking at the sushi belt. I feel like there's way too many empty containers on this thing.
Yeah, the logic on that has definitely changed many
Okay,
times.
fair enough. All right, so yeah, back onto here. So now we got iron, similar sort of setup.
Iron, and then some
iron.
steel.
Steel. Okay.
Line of steel.
And for this was an iron field.
Ah, okay.
And it is now empty.
I'm wondering if perhaps part of the issue would have been benefited from half of the belt being empty containers instead of the full belt.
Yeah, that's how it started.
All right, fair enough.
Mhm.
And
then
then
it became... Yeah.
okay, and anything that made it past it was supposed to be grabbed by these filter inserters.
Oh, so this became a problem where we were getting finished product on the belt, and I couldn't figure out why.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I took some filters and said, hey, none of these containers should ever be on this belt. Take them off.
Okay.
Because the inner belt is the consumables, the outer belt is the finished product.
And the finished product is sent back down this way.
Yes.
And it's got a handy, like,
It's got a
nixie-tube setup.
nixie-tube setup to count the amounts of each resource that we currently have in storage waiting to be sent back to main. We
Nice.
can see if we're low on something, what we need to fill.
Now, is this just a current readout, or is this like a calculated, like...
This is a
Plus
current
The
minus.
readout.
readout of the chest.
Okay.
So down here,
Uh-oh.
we've got the chests, and they are completely sorted by resource. And so
Yeah.
attached from these chests to see how
So
many are
you're-
currently in the chests, that's what's displayed on
Yes, I can still hear you. Okay, and this condition up here... So I had futzed with this a bit before. This condition indicates the minimum number of, like, successful or like, supplied sources onto the ship as it lands.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So each resource type kind of has its own check mark signal.
looks like
Basically a
Poland is
flag
dropping.
saying, okay, we have loaded a reasonable amount of coal or copper or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's fair.
Just to make sure that it's as needed in main, we're giving appropriate resources.
Yeah, looks like Volan was dropped. You there? Alright, well, we're about done with the tour anyways. Cool, yeah, no, that makes sense. It took a lot when it wasn't working well.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was a lot of manual fiddling because it had no input from main.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh yeah, and this is the former lead mine.
Yeah. This is partially why we're probably inundated with lead. But I will say at least... Alright, he's jumping back on. The,
Yeah.
welcome.
Network.
Oh,
issues
and then this
localized.
is
That would do it.
this is what used to
Coal.
be a coal mine.
Yeah.
And there's some steam power that it was powering, and then that was generating power for batteries to send to sea dredgers, or the seamounts.
Right,
that are-
yeah.
And then this is just some local oil because it was really, really close. Used to make exclusively rocket fuel. Just
Yeah.
just to send onto the boats.
Yeah, and there's another... So, why does this one look different? Steven, why does this one look so different from the other dredgers that we've been looking at? Like the one I help you set up. What is
Oh,
this one?
this is because this is the early stage before I had really thought about design. I just wanted this up and running.
Okay.
And also it's because this is cupric. And so it's this is
This is the
ferroic.
ferrous.
So the
Okay.
ferrous. So that means mostly you're getting
Iron.
iron with a little bit of stone and copper. So that's
Okay.
why it's using the third tier of the containerizer, which is the fastest tier, because I'm expecting mostly that, and these two, which are using the second tier containerizers, which
Okay.
use less power but takes longer.
Yep. These ones are still nice. At least they're not the first tier. I didn't realize how different they were until I had a chance to use them, and like, oh
Right,
my
and that's
goodness.
also why I'm using tier 3 efficiency modules, in
Mhm.
all of these because I mean, I have max 8 megawatts to work with the
Yes.
batteries. And so I really wanted to, I wanted to make sure everything was working efficiently so that I didn't have to add another battery because it was consuming basically a fixed energy.
Gotcha. How did
Makes-
that work out? I never really got a chance to play with the.
So I have these small boats because they're fast,
Yep.
but they only have 6 inventory slots. But I just have them constantly running batches of batteries. Instead of having its own containerizer with full batteries, I am just sending small ships with full batteries and sending back small ships with uncharged batteries and then filling them back up.
Do they
on
seem
the-
to handle like the battery consumption, the attrition rate well enough?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the reason that I really did it is because it was absolutely not worth budgeting a containerizer for both charged and uncharged batteries.
That's fair.
Like
Yeah.
the energy cost alone was not worth it for the batteries that I'm getting sent. And like,
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
because it would have been a huge amount of batteries, it would last for a long time. But like, also it would have been another huge boat port that I would
Yeah.
need just for batteries. And
Well, and the real estate on the platform too.
right. There's only so much we can fit with. I don't know how exactly 4 resources would work or 4 ports. I need it. Yeah.
Now I will say,
Also, yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think my favorite part about all of freight forwarding are these little C mounts. I think this is
Yeah. This
The-
is probably my favorite bit.
it's an interesting puzzle that's not overly complicated or crazy, but it's only
Yeah.
here because we have this island infrastructure,
Right.
and so it's kind of required for the rest of it.
Right.
Containers
and-
are an interesting puzzle, but it's also a frustrating and often overwhelming problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing
The
I will
empty
also
boxes is tough.
one thing I'll also say about this with the batteries is it made it so that I could have a boat with full and a boat with empty kind of next to each other,
Hmm.
so that there was no break in the power at any point.
Nice.
It just
Okay.
there's always, because if it was a one giant boat, you could eventually empty of charged batteries and then get full of empties and sent its way, and hopefully a new boat is coming with by the time that container empties. The
Yeah.
last container. But you kind of you hope that a boat gets there in time, but
Makes sense.
sending a full boat of containerized charged batteries takes a long time to fill.
That makes sense to me. Cool.
So that was the idea. And then the one above, the Kubrick, is basically the exact same copy-pasted design, but with iron and copper switched.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I got it zoomed in right now.
Yeah, if you
And-
can just look, because you can look. Also, it comes with automatic radar. You don't have to put a radar down. You can always see C-mounts.
Do
which is very
all
nice.
do all the C-mounts require sulfuric acid?
Yes, in order to. So what they actually
Extract.
bring out is a nodule,
Yeah.
not any of the ore, and the nodule goes through the chemical plants using sulfuric acid to create the ores.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough.
It's
part of the
basically
breakdown process.
Yeah, it's basically you dissolve out for like 3 different. There's regular stone
Sure.
and then some ores. And sure, it's mostly copper, but you basically filter it out with the sulfuric acid.
This is another
the idea.
titanium mine. Okay, yeah, I'm also looking up at north. Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
and then basically we just did some coal, titanium, stuff like that.
Little
Copper,
stuff managed mostly
little stuff,
by
and by
cargo
by
planes.
Because by that time it was basically we were getting enough copper and iron just from the C-mounts. So like all the other things that we were missing, we would go get. And if we were really hurting on copper, like when we were starved for blue chips, we set up a copper mine just to increase the output. Because Wessex was really over-engineered for how much resources it ended up getting. Like there was a lot of stacks that were kind of just sitting idle. But most of it was lead stacks because we had
So
so much lead.
that makes sense.
Right.
So one of the things to be careful of with your cargo planes is make sure that their rocket fuel is capped out at 100. as well as like the request, because what'll happen is that bots will deliver more fuel than what can fit into it, and so it'll go into its trunk, and then it will never hit a full inventory.
Oh, right.
Another thing I've also noticed is that occasionally, even if you do have it capped out, sometimes the bots just won't deliver the fuel. And so for fuel stops, instead of doing fuel full, I just do a 5 or 10 second wait, depending on how far away the fuel resource is. And the bots will hopefully bring it something within that period of time. And if not, it will leave and then it will come back. And at the speed these things are going and the distances they're usually traveling, they'll be fine. But they're fiddly, and I don't like how fiddly they are.
Yeah. All right, so that pretty much just leaves main.
Yep. And I already did a quick one of that, so I think we'll be good. Quick, as quick as a couple 100 hours is.
Yeah, no kidding.
Alright, so yeah, here's our north copper mine, and zips down this way, following the train tracks. Over here to a very anemic coal mine, which I think is, just 2 miners left. Alright.
2 more mine.
Zipped on over here, and that was pumped over here into both our initial mid-game bakelite, but it just never really got the TLC it really needed. Or pumped down here through the train tracks, also nuclear reactor, which seems to be broken.
Yep.
Yeah, it's alright. Anyways, natural gas boilers.
A lot of the nuclear reactors might look broken just because they don't need to be generating power.
No, this one's out of fuel
They might
completely.
just not be pulling fuel. Yeah.
No, there's no fuel on the belt.
On the
Oh,
belt.
well, yeah, that'd be a problem. Carry on.
Anyways, but yes, there might be a few that are missing some. It just sits there and waits around until it needs more fuel, right?
Yep.
The flamethrowers are holdouts from the purging of the island. Random turnarounds.
So long ago.
Yep. Very long ago. The Andyville smelter array. This was what was feeding a lot of the main receiving if it wasn't coming from Wessex. Right. This was honestly a depressingly underutilized main belt that crossed the very thin Andyville. But it at least did make some use from transferring over from Essex.
I did end up using it for cobalt.
Oh, that's cool.
But just at the very end.
Yeah, at least it made some use.
Yeah, don't forget the canal.
Yes, that's
true.
true.
The canal really got used a lot.
Yes, the canal got used. This one involved a lot of blasting, but it was very fun and just required, just a lot of explosives. Just way more than you'd think.
Yes.
But
way less than it is impractical, just more than you think it would be.
Oh, we were just doing a little bit of the last of the titanium.
Yeah, a little bit of titanium. These, the pillboxes were for some biters that got overly zealous and crossed the land bridge.
Yep. And here's our cobalt processing.
Yep.
Was this the main cobalt processing?
Yes, and then it just got more and more extended once we got modules.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of the ore gets processed here, everything but the final step. And then right underneath you is the final step for the rocket. The final step for batteries is over on the mainland.
Right, that was that small one we were looking at.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Oh, and we can go look at the cobalt.
Let's follow you down this way. Stephen Felnoff was the one who primarily was focusing on the cobalt throughout this whole thing. So this is kind of all his
batteries coming in, making sure this thing is charged. But then we also have the solar panels so that
Yeah.
if it stops for whatever reason, it gets starved and it needs to restart itself, the batteries can at least be put into, the inserters will work at least a little bit.
Yeah. It's not running right now.
Yeah, we're out of sulfuric acid.
Oh, that'll do it.
We're super starved for like right now. There's nothing going on because we're starved for sulfuric acid. But if the batteries die, it will turn back on once the sulfuric acid shows up.
We've actually got a whole lot back at the main base. So part of the issue you may be noticing is that there's a whole lot of stuff offline, and a lot of it's because the infrastructure is difficult to maintain over such a great distance.
Yep.
Truth.
It was actually probably because we were using the canal. Had we not been using the canal, but the problem is it's sulfuric acid, so we'd have to pump it.
Yeah. I'm just doing quick map flybys of these southern outposts. We were pumping some natural gas out to the ocean so that people could grab it and then go convert it into bakelite. And then this was a tiny mine of some sort. I don't remember what it was. Oh, it looks like stone. Yeah, this had stone for a little bit. And a whole nuclear reactor setup. Oh, okay. Okay, that was...
It's actually powering a lot of Andyville. That's why
Okay.
the other reactor is less needed.
I just thought
At
there
first, it was just powering south, and I'm like, you know what?
Let's just connect it to the rest.
Let's just connect everything together.
That's fair, that's fair. Alright, let's travel over to Essex. Building this land train bridge and the typewriter
Right, the
setup.
only
There it is.
two-directional.
And not only that, but there was
On the map.
two-directional trains that used the
Yep.
same route. And yeah, using bridges to cross the gap, we were able to jump directly from one island to the next. And then it just unloads it generically and is sorted and smelted.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam. I'm getting video footage of it working. Yeah, ta-da, sorted. That was the main use for the belt array. That and cobalt, apparently. This was the little beachhead that I had created way back when. I was hoping this would be easily tileable and usable, but turns out it's not. Same with this management thing that I created, which is just over-engineered and doesn't work like you think it would. Or I think it would.
Yep.
All this is connected into things. At some point, I think we turned off our... Nope, lead's still going. We had too much lead. You just get too much lead.
Way too much.
Way too much lead. So be
Yeah,
careful with that.
Yeah, it's not used much in the late game.
No.
Not at
No.
scale, at least.
Yeah, you use it to build, like, a lot of the initial infrastructure, but it's infrastructure that's not consumed, like boats
Right.
and, like, big power poles. I'm zipping north to take a look at the mines real quick. This was our northbound train network. This was to poke the biters and get their attention. And there was a mine here. What? Oh, looks like copper. Okay.
Yeah, it was copper.
Yep, and another poking thing. A whole lot of lead up there, but we, again, don't need it. So, where next on our tour? Oh, let's take a look at the inside of Essex. I didn't even get down to the defensive wall.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
the further outposts.
Yeah. So this is the defensive wall.
I
we
mean, mostly
quickly
just mines.
threw down, but yeah, it's mostly just mines. Is there anything?
I don't...
Planes
Oh, wait.
in late game turned out to be very good for those mines.
Yes, they were mostly managed by planes. The throughput's not so great, but infrastructure was just really easy. And by the late game, that was more important for me. And so
Right. Also, with the tier 3 large drills, the amount that the
Mhm.
speed at which you can churn through a resource just drastically increased.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah. As you may have noticed, these are the bigger mining drills. I'm still a little mixed personally on whether or not they're all that useful, but my use cases for them are probably not what they were meant for. Using
right. Like I figured what they meant for was something like a single one covering a titanium and then
Yeah.
getting like solar power and then very slowly trickling it in versus full utilization.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It is double the mining speed of a normal electric mining drill.
Right.
but it's got
Yeah.
significantly larger area and I think much higher consumption. So I
Yep.
don't quite understand exactly what they're for, but they work. So that's cool.
Right. Well, they're a higher density production, right?
Mm.
For
Right.
each square, each tile, you're able to get more ore out of the ground per tick.
Oh,
and,
okay.
and you can mod them and beacon them. So
Oh, right.
basically,
Better beacons, better modules.
right, they're just for a higher level of industrialization, but it's going to eat your ore a lot faster.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so just yeah, as a heads up / side note, this was what you're seeing here is the long range drones, which early game and through mid and late game were really how we did cross island transfer of information, like supplies and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
especially if they were smaller or resources or something
Mhm.
you didn't need a ton of.
Or if it was for like building a base or maintaining it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, long range drones are cool. Downside is they're consumables.
Yep.
In some ways, that's actually an upside because that means you're at least consuming things. All right,
Also
I'm
true.
headed up to Saxony.
So the port you see here at Saxony was the original plan for the lava pools and Titan steel production.
Yeah,
Before we discovered Northumberland,
yeah,
which outshines anything else we found for lava pools or rocket silo locations. So
Right.
this was
But
just abandoned at that point.
yeah,
yeah.
though
Literally, it's just completely ignored.
did you come? Oh, well, it wasn't completely ignored. I
That-
Yeah,
think
this
you'll
actually
unfortunately
worked.
find
It
there
come
was
out.
someone who was very silently
Working on it. That's fair.
making a mess.
Yeah, no, it wasn't until we launched the rocket that I looked down here. I'm like, whoa, there's a full setup right here.
Yep. Well, we had basically almost finished it, and then I just started manually currying things,
That's
filling
fair.
up my inventory, and just like, and here, I bought a bunch of containerized everything you need to make Titan steel.
That's funny.
And
And
here
if
we
you
have another defensive wall that never got to shoot anything.
and you can see my fantastic utilization of the sledge.
Yep.
Right. Here's the sledge. Or the slag, excuse me. Here's the slag.
Yep, I didn't realize that.
That's funny.
I was just like, oh, what should I do with the slag? I've got an idea.
Side note: if you don't know what we're doing, if you press U, and I think this works on Spidertrons, you transform into your normal people thing, and then you can pop back out. It's very nice. At least it works on aircraft. I don't know about the rest. What are you guys doing? Ah!
Or also there is just enemies down there.
Yeah. Most of what I had to do on Saxony was dodge. Dodge the. Yeah, dodge the biters coming through here while I was traveling up towards Northumberland.
Oh, I'm in map mode. Bad idea.
Yeah, that's not a great idea to fight in map mode. So that was, yeah, that's most of Saxony, actually. So I guess let's pop up to, I guess Northumberland's really where we're at. I'm going to go to the main port. So yeah, this was main receiving, a little bit beefier than a lot of the other ports. And it worked all right. I mean, it was able to manage Northumberland, which is cool.
Yeah.
Was this our beachhead? Yeah, this was our beachhead.
Yeah, it started out small and got bigger.
Yep.
Right.
Quad reactors, which is nice.
Quad
Yeah.
reactor and a dual.
Yep.
I needed more power, and so put on
Yep.
the 4.
Yep.
Once power
Main-
overload was out of the way.
Yes, once we remove power overload. By the way, fun mod, but it's absolutely wretched on these very, very big games.
Yeah. It's fun for certain mods as a combo, but for this, it's just unnecessarily limiting.
Yeah. It also is just it works against Factorio's main designs way more
Yeah.
than I've seen with most mods. So I can't suggest it to anybody, but I love what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
And I really want to like it. Yeah, tiny mine hooks into the main network.
Yep.
Oh yeah. That's about all it is. There's just this tiny fuel stop and that one titanium mine. Hooking up here for this little stop. This was a slightly bigger smelter mining array combination for iron. Wow, we have a lot of boxes just sitting around doing nothing.
Yes. Full of steel.
Yes. To be fair, main receiving is also full of steels right now. Oh, well.
Well, I did set up this island to make Titan steel.
Right.
Why is it sitting around? Drop off is full. Why is the
Oh yeah, because we're not consuming enough in the Titan steel mine.
Oh, that's fair. Alright, cool. Yep. Important to make sure those get turned off. I think this was a lead mine. Yeah, this one was, I think, my favorite setup for doing lead, where you just have a bunch of lead things that then spit out lead and copper, and then the copper things go up here.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
So
I like
the
that.
purpose for this was to feed the sulfuric acid production,
Mm-hmm.
which
Right.
part led from local oil up here.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
we needed some sulfuric acid in mass.
Yep,
And instead of shipping it in, we made our own.
Yep. I found some really close offshore stuff, so I just used some underwater pipes and piped it directly to the land. And
Well, one of the things that I'm realizing retroactively is that like our main base is really set up to make local mines really easy because it'll just restock all of the materials that we need, all of the buildings. So like, yeah, it's like, oh, we can just build it here instead of sending a ship full of sulfuric acid because we've got
Right.
all of the materials ready. Just fly them over, set it up.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to kind of go about doing it. If you could find a good blueprint to do the conversion, the downside for like this sulfuric acid setup is you can't just make sulfuric acid from like crude without having a whole bunch of byproducts that you now need to manage.
Yep, which is unfortunate.
Because once that gets out of whack, then you start backing up on other things and then consuming it. It doesn't work unless you've got a lot of consumption.
Right.
Yeah.
Which ultimately is science.
Yeah.
And you don't, once you exhaust your science, if you get that done too early, then everything just plugs up.
Yep. All right. Well, let's follow the main spine of the road, and I think, or the trains, and I think that's about it. We got a couple titanium mines that I hooked in together. I like how like this intersection looks. It's I think pretty, but I'm biased. I did it.
Oh, and then we can look at also the rocket silos.
Oh, that's true.
But at the
You
end
wanna
here is
look
the
at,
Titan steel processing,
Titan
which is
steel,
much better
right?
than the initial processing.
I like how you did the tungsten here, by the way. This is actually what inspired me for the lead.
Oh yeah, I was just lined it all up,
Yeah.
calculated it out. I really liked that kind of design. Yeah.
I did not do any of the
yes.
calculations. I just wanted the copper, and so I was like, yeah, just the wood. And this is the cool setup. I have not had a chance to actually break down what the heck is going on here, but
Yeah, it's the Robo-Mall version of making Titan steel.
hey, Daniel, you made it.
This
No,
is
I've just been
Daniel's-
sitting over here like dumping steam out of these tanks.
Oh, is that what was holding it back? Right, 'cause
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need
Like-
nearly as much power as it's generating.
yeah, our whole network
Well, because
is
it's-
crazy in production.
That
Yeah,
might
like
actually
those-
work if we disconnect it from the main power.
Yeah. It creates a ton of power when you're building steam like that, but we've got 6 reactors working on those islands, so in addition to this.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one probably will do it. There we go.
Or you could just add tanks for a while.
Buffers eventually run out is I think where he's going with that. But no, I dig it. This is cool. And it's not like blueprintable, but at least with the you could with the inserters,
the robot
requesters part, yeah.
and the slag processing.
What this reminds me of actually is a lot. It's like a robotic version of the like drilling fields in base game, where it's just the little outpost that is all connected in, and then it all just floods into the thing. It's just instead of pipes, you've got robots.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
And then a very nuclear pocketed Northumberland. I didn't want to deal with any more biters, so I made sure to clear it out. These were just remnants, and it's possible that there might be a base or two, but even with the pollution rate we're generating, there's not much left to go bug us.
That was a fight to clear those out, too. I dropped, 160 nukes or so on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
No, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was good when you automated it. The nuke building.
Yes,
Yeah.
automating
That
nukes. I don't want to say MVP, but it was pretty good. At least for Northumberland, it was a huge help. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We've already gone over the main base. I think I'm just gonna.
I mean, there's actually
main world.
Wessex.
Oh right, we haven't looked at the rocket silo yet.
also the rocket silos, but also Wessex is something we could look at before main. If you want to save main for last.
I looked at it for a minute, but I had not really set it up. So if you would like to give a tour of Wessex, I would appreciate it.
Sure.
Popping over that way.
Yeah. Daniel and I worked. Do you want to do the silos first?
Yeah, let's take out.
That's right here.
How about the launch silo? This is the one we gussied up a little bit.
Yeah. I think. Oh yeah, that's actually I'm realizing we only made 2. There's this one that Daniel made, and we all made pretty.
Yeah. I actually really like
one,
this little.
The hand.
I like using the constant combinator setup. That's so dumb, but very awesome. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I think the most important thing to mention on this is that these the cargo planes were the ones that were managing most of it, and each cargo plane had a certain amount of supplies. Oh, each one handled a different set of supplies. Okay. During the initial discussion, it was more complicated because each one was supposed to hold like 1 rocket's worth of supplies, like all the different kinds of supplies. But anyways,
That's hard to manage.
yes. Oh, I wonder. I'm actually gonna pop back to Daniel and see how long it takes to travel from our
from
furthest
there,
points all the way over
all
to
the
Wessex.
way to Wessex.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's good.
I'm gonna skip the outer lying mines, but I mean, hell, even just transferring to Daniel, I'm only about halfway from where I was. And 300 kilometers an hour.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's about maxed out.
Yep. All right. Here I. Oh, there we go. everybody, we're downloading the map. We're back in here. Nothing bad happened. Don't look behind the curtain. It's fine. Removing the perfectly innocent rocket inventory. Alright. Steel chest.
Alright, now that
Where
the
did
camera's...
the communicator go? There it is. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Nothing bad happened.
Oh, I have less ammo.
Here, I wanna...
in this save. It's fine.
I want to delete this so I could turn this on and validate the rest of it works. Okay.
Is the power switch still there?
Yeah. Now, if we were to set the auto launch rocket, I've removed the inventory.
Yeah, it should only launch when it has cargo.
Yeah, auto launch with cargo. Okay.
Make sure nothing else is going to feed cargo to it.
Yeah, I already pulled all the other satellites out, I think. So.
It's not gonna just throw in some rocket fuel into the thing and launch it, right?
No.
Right, you want the power off?
I have it on right now just to validate that things are okay.
Okay,
But, boom.
keep the cargo away from it.
Yep. Okay. Cargo's in the thing.
I'm here.
I am clicking the auto launch with cargo.
Okay.
Okay.
See that it is.
So
All right.
get in the viewing bunker. Only entrance for safety reasons is. No!
What button did I press? Whoops. Fine. It's fine. We got robots.
The door.
Oh, sorry. I forgot which button was get out of the plane. That's my bad.
That's really funny.
It really was. Did you get that on video?
Yeah, this is all being recorded.
Excellent.
All right. So with that in place, I think we are ready for launching this rocket, and then we'll do a minor tour just to or finish up the tour real quick.
That sounds good.
All right, here we go. Give me a countdown.
3,
Where?
2,
2,
2,
1.
1. Launch it.
0.
Hey, what the?
You gotta flip the switch.
I did. That I shouldn't need to flip this switch. I didn't need to before.
The power switch.
The power switch is destroyed. Fuck.
Oh.
We had to make
Oh, none of us have one.
Hold on. Okay. All right. 1 second. I turned off the thingy. Okay. So,
That's my
give me a
bad.
countdown.
All right.
3,
2,
2,
1.
1.
There you
Yay! First
There it
time.
just like plans.
Just like playing.
go.
Yes, like
Nailed it.
nailed
It's
it.
very Factorio.
Hold on, what did I push? Oh, I blew it up.
One small step for bots.
And there
Hell
it is.
yeah.
167.
167.
167.
40,000
No team.
trees.
Most killed trees
Yep.
by a lot.
Lots of rocks. Lots of different kinds of rocks.
Yeah.
And one power switch.
One power switch.
I wonder who did that.
Yep.
All right, finish.
Someone silly.
Oh shit.